Hi all, a warm good evening from Hashikla of Lithuania. Lithuania is proud to announce its new segment called Netwit, and I would like to give you a brief introduction about Lithuania before I start things for the newcomers today. So Lithuania is an online course provider exclusively for English literature, and we are targeting to focus on um, clearing exams like a NET, SET, or TRB, and that's going to be the primary objective. Apart from this, we have a website called litual.in, and we run a YouTube channel also, Litual Broadcast. So, with all these things, I welcome you all to today's episode, to today's segment called the NetWit, which is definitely going to be highly helpful to all the NetSet aspirants. So let me begin with the story. Actually, when I was surfing through net as to how to begin, what to talk, how to break the ice, and so on, I was reminded of a story by O. Henry, which reflects the current situation. Hope many of you would have guessed it. It's the last leaf. I just make it very fast. It's a story where you have two artists. One is Sue and the other is John C. And John C. is affected with pneumonia, which is something similar to the corona that we have right now. And she loses all hope. She feels very desperate. She feels that she would die anytime. So she loses all hope in life. She lies on a bed. And she keeps almost counting her days, and with the passage of time, she loses all hope that she starts counting the yellow leaves on the ivy vine which is found outside. She starts counting her days of death along with the ivy leaves. She feels that we apologize for the technical error that happened. We apologize for the technical error that happened right now. So it's a kind of a start as usual, right? So I don't know. I think I'll get my pace. So this is our a new segment from Literal called NetWit. Before we go on to what NetWit is, let me give. It's good evening from Shashikala of Literal again. Sorry for the technical error. We apologize for having taken your precious time. So let me start with the story of the last leaf, famous story written by O. Henry. We have three characters called Sue, John C. and Old Berman, and all the three of them are artists who are utter failures, who are just trying hard to establish themselves. So at this moment, Sue and John C. are very close friends who stay in the same room. John C. is affected with pneumonia. She is losing all hope, and she starts believing that she would die. And her friend also starts losing hope because of the condition, because of the mental state of John C. She's not able to convince her or persuade her or motivate her to gain back confidence in life. It is at this time Sue tries to talk to her, convince her, pacify her, and so on. But Jhansi loses all hope and she is desperate. She starts looking outside the window. She doesn't talk to Sue anymore. She keeps counting the leaves in the ivy vine outside. The leaves are almost a half yellow, or ripe, ready to decay, ready to fall. She associates herself, she associates her condition, the falling leaves. So she believes that the falling of the last leaf, her life would come to an end. And that is what she has in her mind. She strongly believes in it, and the countdown begins. She starts counting down 12, 11, 10, and she strongly believes that when it reaches the last leaf, she's going to be no more. Pneumonia is going to kill her forever. That's the thought she has in mind. At that time, Sue also realizes this. She has been passively observing the condition of Jhansi, but Sue is herself has lost hope. She's not able to go talk to her, convince her, or persuade her. At this moment, she only thing that she could do to stop Jhansi from thinking all such nonsense is that she says that it's very cold outside. She wants to close the windows. She closes it, and maybe temporarily, she could put a kind of a block to the thoughts that she is seeing, but not to the thoughts that she has in her mind, in Jhansi's mind. But Sue is so piled up with emotions that she wants to go and share it with someone. So she goes to the other artist, an elderly man, a very old man called Old Berman, and she goes, meets Berman, and tells him shares a kind of an outlet. She tells her condition, her friend Jhansi's condition, and Old Berman says, "Come on, this is something very common. Let it be. She will fight the disease well. It's something similar to the corona situation we have here in our country right now." So at this point of time, Sue loses hope. Berman gives her a kind of a boost. He just tells her things will take its own course. After this, Sue comes back. She broods within, and Jhansi, she's just waiting for her friend to come and open the window the next day morning to see the last leaf fallen down. With that, she would realize that her life is also going to come to an end. With this thought, both of them are there, and Sue herself also develops the fear within her. The next day morning, Jhansi compels Sue to open the windows because she wants to know what's the result outside, because she believes that her end lies with the falling of the last leaf there. It is at this point, Sue comes with great fear, opens the windows, and finds there was one single leaf sticking on to the ivy vine. It was half decayed, but half green. Half green. This is not the end of the story, but I don't think the purpose for which I started the story ends here. Jhansi finds a purpose, a motivation outside. She rests her motivation with the last leaf which she saw in the ivy vine. Whereas if it had been within her, she would have fought it well. So why I wanted to narrate this story is that the current situation of fighting corona, of trying to crack net, everything is similar. Don't expect people from outside to give you anything. Just start from within. Start from within. Don't look for a motivation. Maybe the last leaf made her gain back all her confidence. If it had been within her, she would have recovered even faster. So that is what is the ultimate theme that you have to have. Develop the motivation within. So here, I would like to tell you something which is parallel between literal and net exams. The motto is the same. We all make a beginning very easy. We start from Chaucer, we start from Chaucer, we start from Chaucer, and we stand with Chaucer, and we end with Chaucer at times because we are not able to proceed further. We don't know how to proceed, or we think that, oh my God, Chaucer itself has got so much to deal with literature. How am I going to cover the entire portion? That's what you have in your mind. So you drop, you give up. So the motto of literal and cracking net exam is that it is perseverance. Never ever give up, right? Okay, so how many times have I cracked net to deal with all these things and talk about all such stuff? No, I haven't. I've just made a single attempt and it was so difficult for me. It wasn't that easy. So I thought maybe doing my doctorate would be much easier than cracking net. Net is such a qualified exam with very good questions, twisting your brain, asking you to think in a different way. So, will I be an eligible person to teach you something related to net exams, having not known anything about net exams? Is it possible? I think it is possible. You know how? Where I belong to a very old generation, where literature was not learned, it was read, it was enjoyed. We just loved it. We did not critically analyze it very much. We had wonderful professors. But in my school days, I was taught ABCD. But the kids now, they don't learn ABCD, they learn abacada, the phonic drills. Do you think I'll not be able to teach them abacada because I have learned ABCD? I will be able to, because I need to connect, that's it. So with my experience, with my knowledge, with the little knowledge that I have got, I can try something out, like how the questions might be, how the questions might be, how you could approach them and so on. So in that way, I think I will be an eligible person with my teaching experience and with my love for literature. I'll be able to contribute something effectively in this session. So let us start with the slide sharing. We'll start. I've got 15 questions to discuss, right? So I'll be giving you simple tips as to how to rule out certain answers, or from answers you can frame questions, or from the given options. Net exam questions and set exam questions are set in such a way that the options, the other three options, you cannot rule them out completely. They will be providing you with answers. They will be providing you with more facts. Maybe they are equally important works. So let's start with it. Can we start with the slide sharing? We have got 15 questions to discuss, and all these 15 questions will be discussed one after the other. So let us start with the first question. How many Pulitzer Prizes? I mean, I would like to specify something. I have forgotten something. This episode, this segment, it's going to deal exclusively with Pulitzer Prizes, right? So it's not going to be a normal question as to when the Pulitzer Prizes were given, to whom it was given, for what work it was given. That's a very simple question anybody could answer. Net questions and set questions are not in such a way. So you'll have to know almost everything about Pulitzer Prizes, right? So let's go on with the first question. How many Pulitzer Prizes are awarded each year for letters and drama? There are 4 options: 5, 4, 6, and 7, right? And the right answer is 6. So you'll have to know, why is it 6? What are those 6? Right? So you'll have to know a bit of the history of the Pulitzer Prizes. So the fact you ought to know is that it is awarded only within the United States. The first thing that you ought to know is it's only for American writers, right? So that's the main concept. It's meant for people who have contributed in America, not writers in America. So you can rule out the other possibilities. If you find a choice where you don't find an American, you can rule that option and go for the other 3 options. And the year the Pulitzer Prize was established was 1917. You can even make a note of it, right? The year when it was first established was 1917, and it was, one second. My phone is getting overheated. It says it will get switched off in a few minutes. 1 second. I'll be back. I'll get connected now. So it was established in the year 1917, and it was Joseph Pulitzer who had made a will stating that he's a famous newspaper magnate. He has contributed $500,000 for it, and it is administered by the Columbia University. So it has a kind of an authority on giving these Pulitzer Prizes. It's announced in April, and the total number of Pulitzer Prizes are 21. And Pulitzer Prizes for letters and drama, it comprises of biography, autobiography, drama, fiction, general non-fiction, poetry, and history. So there are so many aspects. What are we to focus on? Your concentration can be more on, being literature students, your concentration, you could restrict it, you could narrow it down to fiction, drama, and poetry, right? So in that way, you'll know more about Pulitzer Prizes, you'll know more about the facts on that. So moving on to the second question, right? Name the novel that was recommended for 1921 Pulitzer Prize for novel, but was overruled by jury recommendation and was awarded to Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence. So it's a bit painful, right? So you have four options: Sinclair Lewis' Main Street, Ernest Poole's His Family, Booth Tarkington's The Magnificent Ambersons, Pearl S. Buck's The Good Earth. So it's a bit painful when you know that you have been recommended, but somebody else does not allow you to enjoy that. It's a bit painful, and the right answer here is Sinclair Lewis' Main Street. Remember, 1921 Pulitzer Prize was not given to Sinclair Lewis, was not given, and it was given to somebody else. He was nominated, but it was given to somebody else. It was Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence that won the 1921 Pulitzer Prize. So it's a kind of a controversy. Somebody was nominated and somebody else was given the award. What was the reason for the controversy? The reason for the controversy for which Sinclair Lewis was not given the award was that he had made a satirical portrayal of small town America. So earlier, the board had a criteria for giving this award. It was best presenting the whole atmosphere of American life. But when they felt that America was satirically portrayed, they didn't want to let down their country. So the authorities, they decided that the criteria could be altered a bit so that it would suit their decision. So what they made is that they made a small alteration. Instead of the whole atmosphere of American life, they converted it as the wholesome atmosphere of American life. That is the positive aspects, the positive aspects of American life. So since they have decided something, based on their decision, they altered the criteria. So it's a kind of a severe blow for Sinclair Lewis because he has given a satirical portrayal of small town America. He was denied that award. So this being the condition, you have another fact also here. Real credit is always recognized. It's always being awarded. And Sinclair Lewis' Main Street, it was rejected. It was rejected for a Pulitzer Prize, but this most famous book led in part to his eventual 1930 Nobel Prize for Literature. So you were deprived of something very small, but you are given something very big, because Nobel Prize for Literature is meant for the whole world, whereas Pulitzer Prize is meant for America alone. So this is something which was meant for Sinclair Lewis maybe. So though he was denied a Pulitzer Prize in 1921, he had to wait for 9 more years, and the same novel, it had its own influence in getting him the 1930s Nobel Prize for Literature. And the next fact that I would like to discuss here is that you have the other options. Ernest Poole's His Family. So who is Ernest Poole? Right? So maybe we can go ahead with the extra reading of it. The options given there will also be equally important. So if you are a net set aspirant, you'll have to go this way, right? Just don't look for answers. Don't look for answers. Look for questions from all the answers that you find. That is what is expected. So here you find Ernest Poole's His Family. It received the first Pulitzer Prize for the novel in 1918. I told you earlier that the Pulitzer Prizes were established in 1917, but 1917 there was no award given for novel. So the first Pulitzer Prize for the novel category was given in 1918, and that goes to Ernest Poole's His Family. So this is how you go about it. It goes very interesting. You can go in a very detailed way. You can learn so many things. It's not going to be monotonous anymore. You can enjoy learning for NET. You can enjoy learning for SET. If you're going to go ahead like this, you will get lost. You will get lost, but still you have so many things to add to your mind, right? So another thing is, Louis, he was rejected for his Pulitzer Prize, but was it the case ever? It was not so. Here, it was not failure just once. It was failure for the second time too. It's really painful. Louis has written another novel called Babbitt, and this Babbitt was also chosen for Pulitzer Prize in 1923. Just 2 years after that, 1921, he was rejected for Main Street. In 23, he was nominated again for his another work called Babbitt, and this time also the committee overruled. The committee was overruled by the trustees, and the prize went to Willa Cather for One of Us. So 1923 Pulitzer Prize winner is Willa Cather, One of Ours. But Sinclair Lewis, he was rejected for the second time for his novel Babbitt in 1923. So now going on to the third option, Booth Tarkington's The Magnificent Ambersons. It won the Pulitzer Prize for a novel in 1919 for novel. When I tell you the word novel, register it in mind, because Pulitzer Prize was changed later to Pulitzer Prize for fiction. For a particular period of time, it was Pulitzer Prize for novel, and after a certain time, it was Pulitzer Prize for fiction. So in 1919, the Pulitzer Prize for novel was given to Booth Tarkington's The Magnificent Ambersons. And this is an important novel for, it belongs to a trilogy or trilogy, I'm not sure of the pronunciation here. It's Growth Trilogy. Growth Trilogy, it is the second of the trilogy. I'll go with trilogy, right? So the second one of it, the first one is The Turmoil. So here, if you're going to go with Pulitzer Prizes, Growth Trilogy, second novel, it is The Magnificent Ambersons, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1919. Here you can learn another fact that the Growth Trilogy had 3 novels, right? The first novel is The Turmoil. The second novel, the Pulitzer Prize winner, is The Magnificent Ambersons. And the third is The Midlander. And this novel was adapted into the 1925 silent film called Pampered Youth. Pampered Youth, you can make a note of it, because you don't know how questions are set. So just know as many facts as possible. Try to gather it. And now we have the fourth option, Pearl S. Buck's The Good Earth. The Good Earth won the Pulitzer Prize for novel in 1932. In 1932, the Pulitzer Prize for novel went to Pearl S. Buck's The Good Earth, and this was also this novel also had its influence in making Pearl S. Buck win his Nobel Prize for Literature in 1938. In 1938, you can learn the fact that Nobel Prize for Literature was given to Pearl S. Buck, and The Good Earth created such an impression which recommended him for this Nobel Prize. And it is also a part of the trilogy called the Earth Trilogy. The Earth Trilogy, because trilogies are quite important when it comes to NET exams, right? So you can collect a list of trilogies and try sorting out all the novels that belong to that trilogy. So in that way, the first book in her House of Earth trilogy. House of Earth trilogy. The first book is The Good Earth. The second is Sons, and the third is A House Divided. I repeat, the first is The Good Earth, the second is The Sons, and the third is A House Divided. And The Good Earth, the first book of the House of Earth trilogy, won the Pulitzer Prize for novel in the year 1932. So, to the next question, the third question. Name the novel by Ernest Hemingway that was recommended for Pulitzer Prize for fiction by the jury, but was overruled by Columbia University President Mr. Nicholas Morey Butler, who implored the committee to reconsider and vetoed the jurors' choice, deeming the book offensive and profane. Right? So Ernest Hemingway was rejected. Right? His work was rejected, and you have all the four novels of Ernest Hemingway as the options given: To Have and Have Not, For Whom the Bell Tolls, The Old Man and the Sea, A Farewell to Arms. All the four are Ernest Hemingway's novels. We are led to confusion here. So here the right answer is For Whom the Bell Tolls. That was the novel which was recommended but was rejected. So that makes it unique in a way, right? So this being the condition, Ernest Hemingway was rejected at one particular year, and in 1953, that is 12 years after this, right? After this rejection in 41, in 1953, Hemingway was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for fiction for his novella, The Old Man and the Sea. So The Old Man and the Sea is an important work of Ernest Hemingway. Imagine a man, after 12 years, he receives what he is deprived of. What a happy man Ernest Hemingway would have been. And it would have been quite a long wait too. So let's see some facts about the important novel, The Old Man and the Sea. So it was the last major work of fiction written by Hemingway that was published during his lifetime. So it deals with the protagonist called Santiago. He's an aging Cuban fisherman. He struggles with a giant marlin far out in the Gulf Stream of the coast of Cuba. And this novella was also cited by the Nobel Committee as contributing to the awarding of the Nobel Prize in Literature to Hemingway in 1954. So you can remember it this way. 1953, he won the Pulitzer Prize award for The Old Man and the Sea. The very next year, the novel which created an impact, which influenced, which made Ernest Hemingway really popular, made him win the Nobel Prize for Literature, and that was the next year after that. It is 1954 that Ernest Hemingway was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. So let's move on to the next question, the fourth question. Excuse me. I have talked mainly about the rejections and controversies here because that would be something, being awarded is something common which happens every year, but being rejected or being dominated or something unique about the Pulitzer Prizes would draw the attention of the NET committee. That is what I believe. So my selection of questions have been made in such a way. Name the novel by William Faulkner that was rejected for Pulitzer Prize for novel in the year 1930, but became integral in his achievement of the Nobel Prize. Right? So, The Sound and the Fury, A Fable, The Ravers, Absalom. So, which novel was rejected? But that was the same novel which had its own impact for William Faulkner to have received his Nobel Prize for Literature, and it is option D, Absalom. So William Faulkner, he was nominated. He was rejected in 1930, but he had to wait for a long time, for 19 years. In 1949, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature, where the 1930 novel had its impact. Absalom, along with The Sound and the Fury, contributed and raised him to the level of a Nobel laureate. So he won the Nobel Prize for Literature then. And you'll have to know one thing, the 1983 Guinness Book of World Records says the longest sentence in literature is a sentence from Absalom, containing 1,288 words. The 1983 Guinness Book of World Records says the longest sentence in literature is a sentence from Absalom, containing 1,288 words. So let's move on to the next option, The Sound and the Fury. It draws its title from a famous drama of Shakespeare, right? It's Macbeth's famous soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5 of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. You could remember this. The Sound and the Fury, which was a cause for, excuse me, which contributed, which played a major influence in William Faulkner winning his Nobel Prize, was the Sound and the Fury and Absalom. The Sound and the Fury derived its title from the famous soliloquy from Act 5, because some questions are so specific where they ask for the act, the scene, and so on. So Act 5, Scene 5 of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. And William Faulkner won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1955 for his fable, and that stands as the next option, which is a Pulitzer Prize winner too. So 1955 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction was awarded to William Faulkner, and the award-winning novel is A Fable. In 1963 also, he won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. It is The Ravers, which is also the final novel by Faulkner. Right, you have to remember that. Correlated. Maybe I give you so many facts, too many facts, but still, everything is essential. Everything is essential. We do not know how one would think. So, you'll have to remember two factors here. 1955 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction was awarded to William Faulkner, and the novel is A Fable. 1963, the Pulitzer Prize was awarded for fiction, was awarded to William Faulkner again, and it is The Ravers. So maybe you can start a list here as to how many Pulitzer Prizes William Faulkner has really won. So that could be another list. It could keep on going. It could keep on going like this. So moving on to the next question, the fifth question. Every year these awards are being awarded, but being awarded is something common. There are years when these awards were not awarded at all. So maybe I am a person who thinks different. I am a person who thinks negatively, maybe. So maybe I go with nods and rejections. So identify the year in which the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction was not awarded. There were so many years when it was not awarded. But you have an option here: 2012, 2015, 2016, and 2020. Right? So here, maybe you will have to prepare a list as to when these awards were, Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, what are the years in which this prize was not awarded. So you can make a list. I can give you the list right now. The years when, excuse me, when the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction was not awarded, you can make a note of the years: 1917, 1920, 1941, 1946, 1954, 1957, 1964, 1971, 1974, 1977, and 2012. But what makes this 2012 so special? Let us make a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So here you can have another fact added. 11 years, for 11 years, Pulitzer Prize for Fiction has not been awarded. So this is how you go. This is how you go for the preparation of NET exam. It is a different way, right? You can try it this way. And why have I chosen this particular year? Why this 2012? Because this prize for fiction was withheld. Earlier it had been frequent withholding, but later on, after 35 years, 35 years they have been giving this award continuously. But after 35 years, in 2012, the prize was not given. So why was it not given? What is the reason behind? You can analyze it that way. No one of the three entries received a majority. So usually the finalists are three works and three writers. Of the three, or maybe all the three were sailing in the same boat. All the three, they didn't have a majority. So the jury was confused. They didn't know to whom they should give the award. So they were so fair that they didn't want to give the award at all. So maybe you can go a step further and find out what are the works that were eligible as that were able to move up the ladder as finalists. Maybe you can make a list of that, where you will be given 4 options and asked to rule out the 4th option, which was not a part of the finalist committee. Right? So in that way, you can proceed further. So this is how I have started analyzing the questions, and you can move on to the 6th question now. And it's again a negative question. Identify the American writer who has not won the Pulitzer Prize, but has won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Okay? That is like you lose in Ranji Trophy and you win a World Cup. Or I hope you get it. You lose a Ranji Trophy and you win a World Cup. You lose something in America, but you win in the world. So in that way, it's special, it's unique. So the options here are John Steinbeck, William Faulkner, Bob Dylan, and Ernest Hemingway. So the answer here is Bob Dylan. So he won the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 2016. What makes Bob Dylan so special is that he doesn't belong to the literature category. It was not the criteria based on which the Nobel Prize was given, but he was considered that year. In 2016, the Nobel Prize for Literature, which was usually associated with poets and novelists, it handed Dylan the prize for having created new poetic expressions with great American song tradition. So it's not necessarily poetry. It's poetry in the form of music, song. So this poetic expression was to be recognized, and that is why he was given the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 2016, and that makes Bob Dylan special. And the highlighting factor is that for some people, winning an award is something very common, or they enjoy their profession that much that Dylan did not attend this ceremony of receiving the award, citing previous commitments, because he had made some appointments, he has given some commitments, and he received this such an honorable prize called a Nobel Prize for Literature 3 months later. So how much he would have enjoyed his profession, right? So that's something to know about Bob Dylan, the Nobel Prize Nobel Prize winner for literature in the year 2016. So maybe you can make another list, right? So some have been awarded both the Pulitzer Prizes and the Nobel Prize. Maybe that would be such a question. So make a list as to who have won both the Pulitzer Prizes and the Nobel Prize for literature. This is something different, where you'll have 4 options with 3 prize winners who have got both the prizes and asking you to rule out who has not won, right? So this might be the case. So there are 8 writers in all. 8 writers. I'll give you the list. I'll be hurrying up because you cannot afford to stay too long. You're all net aspirants who have to prepare a lot. So Sinclair Lewis again, Eugene O'Neill, Pearl S. Buck, Saul Bellow, Toni Morrison, John Steinbeck, William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway. So there are 8 writers who have won Pulitzer Prize, and in a way, they have won the Nobel Prize for literature too. So 8 writers: Sinclair Lewis, Eugene O'Neill, Perlis Buck, Saul Bellow, Toni Morrison, John Steinbeck, William Faulkner, and Ernest Hemingway. So there is another category you can prepare too. There are only 3 American authors who have won the Nobel Prize but have never won a Pulitzer Prize at least once. They have not won Pulitzer Prizes, but they have won Nobel Prizes. They are 3 writers. They are Isaac Bashevis Singer. Make a note of it. Maybe you will have to pick up speed, right? Isaac Bashevis Singer, Joseph Brodsky, and Bob Dylan. I repeat, Isaac Bashevis Singer, Joseph Brodsky, and Bob Dylan. They have won the prize for Nobel Prize for Literature, but they have never won a Pulitzer Prize, right? So let's move on to the next question, the 7th question. Can you just try this question where identify the year in which Robert Frost did not win the Pulitzer Prize for poetry. Generally, when we prepare, we make a list of the years, how many prizes they have won, and so on. But we forget to notice which are the years they didn't, and we forget the years that they have done, and so on. So maybe the question can be like this: identify the year in which Robert Frost did not win the Pulitzer Prize for poetry. 1924, 31, 37, and 47. It was the right answer is the 1947. He was not awarded, and you need to know the fact that Robert Frost is the poet who has won the maximum number of Pulitzer Prizes. He has won it 4 times. Won it 4 times. So here maybe you can remember the years when he had won the Pulitzer Prizes. 1924, 1931, 1937, and 1943. When you're going to have it as numbers, maybe it's a bit difficult for you to remember. So what I did is, I tried to do a kind of mind mapping. I was trying to correlate 1924, 31, 37, 43. It seems to be like letters running here and there. I'm not able to correlate. So what I did is, I was using a kind of a calculation. If I'm going to remember the first prize alone, if it is going to be 1924, the next clue I can have in mind is 766. How is it possible? 1924 plus 7 is 1931. He won the prize then, 1931. 1931 plus 6 is 1937. He won the prize then. 1937 plus 6 is 43. So 1924 alone you need to remember, and 766. 1924, 1931, 1937, and 1943. So a person has won it 4 times. Well, there may be people who have won it 4 times too. Search for that. Or people who have won it twice. And here we have another person, Edwin Arlington Robinson, who has won the prize thrice. So there you have 4, and here you have 3. How am I to remember? Here I give you a simple clue. Arlington Robinson, he has won all his Pulitzer Prizes in the 1920s. That is all you need to remember, right? So 1920s, you have to remember the first prize, 1922, the second, 1925, third, 1928. How many Pulitzer Prizes he has won? 3. So remember 3, 1922. 1922 plus 3 is 1925, and that is the year he has won it for the second time. 1925 plus 3 is 1928, and that is where he has won it for the third time. Some kind of mathematics, calculate. It is your mind which needs to remember. Remember it the way you want. I thought thrice he has won. So plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 adding I can remember very easily. So all I need to remember is he won it thrice, and the first prize was won in 1922. So with that, adding of 3, if you're going to remember it as 1922, 1925, 1928, it might be three different concepts. If you're going to remember it as 1922, add 3 along with it. Fine, fantastic. You're going to remember the answer. This is what I felt comfortable with. Or develop your own strategy as to how to remember years, and it's going to work, right? So moving on to the next question, the eighth question. And it's again a negative question. Find the only year in which Pulitzer Prize for Poetry was not awarded. It drew my attention, you know why? Because for 98 years, the award has been given successfully. One particular year, it has not been given, just one. Whereas that was not the case with fiction. That you had so many years, so maybe it doesn't have much significance. 1 year, it was not given. I served, and I served, but I couldn't find the reason why it was not given. If you could find the answer, I'll be the happiest to know, because I failed in it. I couldn't find the answer. Here, the Pulitzer Prize, I can give you the answer. It's not 2011, it's not 1983, it's not 1970, it's 1946. 1946, Pulitzer Prize for Poetry was not given. Maybe you can correlate it with our independence, 1947. The year before, it was so chaotic. So because of that, since the net and set is meant for Indians, I'm representing it though for us to remember it easily. A year before, maybe it was so chaotic, we had that freedom struggle and so on. So people were not able to write poetry or something like that. You can correlate and remember that the year is 1946. In case you find the answer, why it was not given for the year 1946, please leave it in our comment box when you find the answer. And the award was awarded for two. Sharing is very common, but here it has happened only once in the year 2008. Only in the year 2008, the Pulitzer, excuse me. Only in the year 2008, Pulitzer Prize for Poetry was shared between two, and it's between Philip Schultz and Robert Hass. Maybe you can go further and find the works. It is Failure by Philip Schultz. I may be poor in my pronunciation. Kindly bear with me. I'm not familiar with American names. And Time and Materials by Robert Hass. So you can remember the works if you have a very good memory, or if you feel that you cannot have so many factors stuffed in your mind, go with the writers alone, Philip Schultz and Robert Hass. And I can add an extra information here. Prior to 1948, the year after independence, right? Before that, the category was Pulitzer Prize for Novel. It was not Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, but after 1948, it was called Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. Maybe you'll have a question. Mention the year the change occurred from novel to fiction. So that might be the question, right? So try to identify such exceptions, important years, and superlatives like the youngest man, the youngest woman, the first, the sharing of awards, anything that would make the work or the author unique. Try to go for such stuff, because covering all the aspects would not be possible. Something should be drawing your attention. Try to find it out. So in that way, work in that way, you'll be able to find out so many interesting facts in literature, which will make reading for exams interesting. So let's move on to the next question. It's question number 9. So we have seen about Americans winning it. So name the African American author who has become only the fourth writer. Only the fourth writer. So what does the question provide you? It says that 4 of them have achieved this. You'll have to have that in your mind. Fourth writer ever to win the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction twice. So there are 4 people who won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction twice. And an extra information about him, he has previously said he grew up wanting to be the black version of the horror writer Stephen King. So this is something extra which would, maybe if you're a fan of, if you're a reader who prefers to read Stephen King's works, you can correlate and remember it that way. So there are 4 options. All the 4 of them, excuse me. I'm sorry. All the 4 of them are Pulitzer Prize. I've made the option like that so that you can learn more, right? All the 4 of them are Pulitzer Prize winners who have won it twice. So you can make a list of repeated winners, right? So here I have the list. 4 winners have done that: Booth Tarkington, William Faulkner, John Updike, and Colson Whitehead. And you know that an extra fact here that Colson Whitehead is the 4th one to get that award for the 2nd time. So both Tarkingtons, the Magnificent Ambersons, and Alice Adams have won the prize earlier. And William Faulkner, he was awarded in 1955 for his fable and in 1963 for the Ravers. And you need to know something extra here about William Faulkner. He is the only Mississippi-born Nobel laureate. This is the extra fact that I gathered. He is the only Mississippi-born Nobel laureate. So what we would think is, I thought maybe I can prepare another segment like this based on Nobel laureates, right? I thought so, and I thought I could skip the point here and have it for that. But when I start preparing for that, I may forget this. So I just didn't want to ignore this. I thought I could incorporate this here too. And even if I'm going to repeat it in my next segment or next course, which I may be giving on Nobel laureates, I may add this also, because repeated learning, you're not going to lose anything. You're going to gain more, right? So whatever factor you want to add, keep on adding to your notes. That's going to make it really meaningful, right? And it's not going to be a waste at all. And you have the other writer, John Updike. He's known for his famous work, Rabbit series. The Rabbit series, it has 4 novels and a novella. This Rabbit series, it has novels, 4 novels. I can mention the name of the novels. I'll be in a hurry to do it. You can surf it later. Rabbit Run, Rabbit Redux, Rabbit is Rich, Rabbit at Rest, and the novella. 5 together, they form a series. Rabbit Remembered. All the works, they chronicle around a single protagonist. So maybe the protagonist is important, right? And the protagonist is Harry Rabbit Armstrong. Harry Rabbit Armstrong. And all the novels and the novella, they project the course of several decades from young adulthood of Rabbit till his death. So all the 4 novels and the novella, they revolve around a single character. So which are the novels of the Rabbit series that won the Pulitzer Prize? Rabbit is Rich in the year 1982. Rabbit at Rest. So maybe you can remember it this way. There are so many novels with the same name, Rabbit. How am I to remember this? Rabbit is rich. It has worked hard, so it has become rich, right? And the rabbit has earned so much that he wanted to rest. So Rabbit at Rest. You got the point? You can remember, you can correlate. Rabbit is Rich, 1982, and Rabbit at Rest, 1990. They were recognized with the Pulitzer Prize. So correlated as you please. Nobody is going to ask you for an explanation, right? So the last option I would like to talk about is Colson Whitehead. He's someone recent. So maybe some writers, some people, they'll have a craze for recent things, current affairs. So 2017, the Underground Railroad of Colson Whitehead won the Pulitzer Prize, and the Nickel Boys in 2020, maybe I think if I'm right, if my memory goes right, it was announced virtually after the pandemic, after this COVID. It is the Nickel Boys. So Colson Whitehead, the 4th prize winner to win it for the 2nd time for his 2 novels. First one is The Underground Railroad, 2017, and The Nickel Boys in 2020. So moving on to the 10th question. I think I'm taking too much of your time, but I'm sorry. We wasted some time also. We have to have that in mind. Identify the novel that the Pulitzer Prize winner Sinclair Lewis dedicated to his competitor, Another Pulitzer Prize winner, Edith Wharton. The question itself is quite interesting, right? Will you ever do this? Will you ever have the mind to give something where you win something, right? You write something and you dedicate it to your competitor? That needs real guts, and Sinclair Lewis had that, right? So, what are the novels? All the 4 novels are by Sinclair Lewis: Main Street, Babbitt, King's Dead Royal, and Arrowsmith, right? All the 4. And the right answer is Babbitt. You remember Babbitt? Recollect, we were talking about it earlier. In this session, we were talking about Babbitt earlier. Try to recollect it. Recollect every now and then. So, why did he dedicate? Why did he dedicate? And she is also a Pulitzer Prize winner. You remember, he was rejected. He was rejected. He was nominated, but he was rejected because he has given a satirical portrayal of the small American town. So this was given to his competitor. Who, naturally, you lose something and somebody gains it, you become rivals. That is what generally happens. Here, Edith Wharton was the writer to whom Lewis had dedicated his novel. 1921, Sinclair Lewis was rejected that award of Pulitzer Prize, which was given to his competitor because it was awarded, not because they were competitors. Because it was awarded, they become competitors in a way. Actually, they may be might have become rivals too. There would have been a possibility, but Edith Wharton, on knowing the background of how she received that Pulitzer Prize, she was upset. She was really upset. She criticized the Pulitzer Committee that changed the prize. That is, she criticized the Pulitzer Committee for its actions of rejecting Lewis and giving it to Edith Wharton in 1921. So Sinclair Lewis was just moved. It was just moved. When I get something, I go away with it happily. But she criticized the Pulitzer Committee that awarded her the prize. She criticized. That criticism stands. That criticism is effective. If Sinclair Lewis has criticized, that would be something out of inability. People would have taken it that way. The award winner criticized the Pulitzer Prize Committee. So he wanted to dedicate his next novel. 1921, he was rejected. Edith Wharton was given the Pulitzer Prize. The very next year, he wrote the novel called Babbitt in 1922, and that novel he dedicated to Edith Wharton, his competitor. Literary legends they are. They have this competition in the right sense. They didn't see them as rivals. They took it very sportively. She felt that he was a good writer. He should have been given. He felt that she stood for the cause, and he dedicated it to her. How people have been, and so I was just moved when I happened to know this fact. So let's move on to the next question. Somebody gives you an award. You know that you are eligible for that. I am a writer. I am an American. I may get that award. You are eligible for it. Will you have the guts to pass a negative comment on that award? You won't. But here, the question is, spot the American novelist and poet known for his novel Darkenville's Cat, who describes the Pulitzer Prize. It's not a positive, it's not a compliment, it's not a positive comment. So maybe something negative. So that caught my eyes as an eminently silly award that has often been handed out as a result of pull and political log rolling, and that is some of the biggest frauds and fools alike. So this is not because it is important, not because it is significant, but it's a negative comment. You need guts to do that. So here you have the options: Alexander Louis Thoreau, Alice Walker, Sinclair Lewis, and Harper Lee. So here the right answer is Alexander Louis Thoreau, who had the guts to describe it. Maybe you will be given the comment and asked such a question. Negative criticism about awards are rare. Writers will always have the fear of not being awarded. So I thought it can be of significance. He had the guts to do it. So we can move on to the next option, Alice Walker. She has won the 1983 Pulitzer Prize for fiction for her novel, The Color Purple. You can remember this fact, right? And it is an epistolary novel. You know what epistolary novels are? It's just an extra information which I want to add here. It is written in the form of letters. So it's a different genre as such in novel writing. So you can know some facts about The Color Purple. You know it is also important. It has won the 1983 Pulitzer Prize for fiction. It is an epistolary novel, and you can learn an extra fact as to what epistolary novels are. They are novels written in the form of letters. And the next option, you know so much about Sinclair Lewis, we need not talk about him more. So to the next option, Harper Lee, she known for the work To Kill a Mockingbird, won the award Pulitzer Prize in 1961 for fiction, right? 1961, the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. The 12th question goes like this. Identify the American playwright who has won the Pulitzer Prize for drama 4 times. Earlier we saw one for poetry 4 times. You remember? Recollect. I do remember it. But this is how you learn. Learn, 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 relearn. Recollect. Do that. So a person has won it 4 times for Pulitzer Prize for poetry, 4 times, and here you have one for drama. Richard Powers, Eugene O'Neill, Thornton Wilder, Archibald MacLeish, and the right answer is Eugene O'Neill. So who is this Eugene O'Neill, and what are the awards? I mean, what are the novels? I mean, dramas that has gotten the award. Eugene O'Neill received the award thrice. Be very clear in understanding. In the very first 10 years, that is from 1920 to 1930, 10 years the award has been given for drama, for Pulitzer Prize for drama. Out of 10, he has got it thrice. So that makes it very special. In 1920, Beyond the Horizon, that is his first Pulitzer Prize winning drama. In 1920, it's Beyond the Horizon, the first Pulitzer Prize for Eugene O'Neill. And the second is in 22, Anna Christie, the second Pulitzer Prize winning drama for Eugene O'Neill. And the third is in 1928, Strange Interlude. And the fourth is in 1957, that is after a long break, Long Day's Journey into Night. With experience, a man grows, right? So the 1957 drama, Long Day's Journey into Night, the fourth Pulitzer Prize winning drama of Eugene O'Neill, is his masterpiece. With experience, he has grown so much. So with experience, he has developed as a dramatist, and that has made him rectify all his errors, and he has brought out his work, and that is Long Day's Journey into Night. So this is all you need to know, and this is how you develop. Let's move on to the next option, Richard Powers, right? His drama, Overstory, it was shortlisted. It was shortlisted for the 2018 Man Booker Prize. That was shortlisted for 2018. It won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction in 2019. Right? It won the Pulitzer Prize for drama in 2019. It was all about the destruction of forests. Right, so you have to remember 3 facts here. Shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2018, Pulitzer Prize in winner of the Pulitzer Prize for drama in 2019, and it is about the destruction of forests, a current topic now amidst the environmentalists. So maybe it might be a question in that way also. And next is Thornton Wilder. He won the Pulitzer Prize thrice for his novel. Thrice. It's so rare here because here it's again thrice, but 1 for his novel and 2 for his plays. Pulitzer Prize won thrice, but 1 for his novel, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, and for his plays, Our Town, and The Skin of Our Teeth. Right? So he has won it thrice. The question might be thrice, and may you have a different answer. And the question might be thrice, one for his novel and two for his drama. Right? It can be that way too. And you have another option, Archibald MacLeish. He also won Pulitzer Prize twice. It makes it unique because twice for his poetry, one in 1933 for his Conquistador and one in 1953 for his collected poems from 1917 to 1952. And he won the third Pulitzer Prize for drama called J.B. in the year 1959. Right? So this is how you can go about. Moving on to the next question. Excuse me, please. Name the three-act play by Edward Albee that won the Pulitzer Prize for drama in 1967, which was the first of the three Pulitzer Prizes he received for his work. So he has received three, right? And you need to identify the Pulitzer Prize for drama in the year 1967, which was his first drama. And naturally, all the four options I have here are Edward Albee's works. And the right answer is A Delicate Balance. A Delicate Balance is the right answer. Edward Albee, he won the first Pulitzer for Delicate Balance in 1967. The second Pulitzer for Seascape in 1975. The third Pulitzer in the year 1994. Excuse me. The third Pulitzer for his work, Three Tall Women, in the year 1994. And he was a finalist. Remember when his career started, when he won his first prize in 1967. 1975, he got the second. 1994, he got the third. And in 2003, he was not a winner, but he was a finalist. So he's just like that, we cannot become a finalist. Maybe the content need to have its core. The content needs to have its quality. So imagine how long he would have dominated the drama world. What a playwright he would have been. 38 years from 1967 to 2003. If you have born somewhere in between, correlated, somehow or the other, try to draw connections. From 1967 to 2003, 2003 he did not win the Pulitzer Prize, don't be misled, he was a finalist. Why I added this was that in 1994, he has won the third Pulitzer Award. That is what stands for the Pulitzer Prizes. But in 2003, he might have reached the fag end of his career maybe. In that year also, he did not lose the essence of his writing. He was a finalist. And the work is The Goat, or Who is Sylvia? The name of the work that was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize in the year, Pulitzer Prize for drama in the year 2003 is The Goat, or Who is Sylvia? So let's move on to the 14th question. I think I am draining you out, but sorry, since I have prepared, I thought I could finish it off. Kindly bear with the time that I take. At times, you will not be able to understand the question. You will have to make guesses, right? Name the author who was vetoed by the Pulitzer Board for his novel, Gravity's Rainbow, in 1974, calling the novel obscene, overwritten, turgid, and unreadable. So you might not have seen work being rejected with. Generally, if a work is selected for a prize committee itself, you will have so many positive comments. Here, the novel was vetoed. It's given a negative comment. So maybe if you do not know the meaning of the word vetoed, you can guess it with the context. It was rejected, right? And the rejected writer was Thomas Pynchon. Thomas Pynchon was rejected with all these negative comments. But a novel which was rejected with these many negative comments, in the same year, 1974, it won the US National Book Award for Fiction with A Crown of Feathers and Other Stories. It was shared. You got the point? It was shared. Gravity's Rainbow and A Crown of Feathers and Other Stories. The two novels won the US National Book Award for Fiction. The novel, which was called Obscene, Overwritten, Turgid and Unreadable, was given the US National Book Award for Fiction, another prestigious award in US. It was given to Thomas Pynchon. I would like to add another extra fact here, that this award was shared between two. The US National Book Award for Fiction was shared between two, and the other writer is Isaac Bashevis Singer, who got the award for his work, A Crown of Feathers and Other Stories. And you have the next option, Geraldine Brooks. She is the first Australian American to win the award for a second novel, March. The first Australian American, dual citizenship. Don't be misled, she's an Australian. She's an Australian American to have won the award for her second novel, March. You can go ahead looking for the year, so on, the protagonist, the characters, the theme, the setting, and so on. And the next option, Toni Morrison. The important work of Toni Morrison, Beloved. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in the year 1987. The setting was the American Civil War. At times you get questions like that too. It was inspired by a true life incident. Generally, writing fiction goes with imagination, but this is a work, the work Beloved is based on a true life incident involving Margaret Garner, an escaped slave from Kentucky who fled to the free state of Ohio in 1856, but was captured in accordance with the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. So it's got something to correlate with a real lifetime incident. So maybe that drew my attention, and I wanted to present it here as an option and tell you the fact about it. And the last option I have given you is Eudora Welty, novel Optimist's Daughter won the Pulitzer Prize in the year 1973. The Pulitzer Prize for fiction again in the year 1973. It went to Eudora Welty. The novel's name is Optimist's Daughter. Here I would like to, something caught my attention. The protagonist is Laurel Hand. She takes care of her father, Judge McElva. He undergoes a surgery for a detached retina. What drew my attention is, maybe you can make a note of the protagonist's name, Laurel Hand, or the protagonist's father's name, Judge McElva, or the treatment for which he was, the treatment that he was undergoing, detached retina. All these factors came into my mind only because I saw something. When he was recovering, he died actually. He didn't recover, he died. But during his recovery period, since the retina was detached, he was not able to read. His daughter Laurel Hand wanted to engage him, so he read to him from Charles Dickens' novel. I just wanted to communicate this because it drew my attention. Maybe it will draw the attention of NTA question board too. I thought that way because maybe tell the famous writer, a novelist, the Victorian novelist who was read by Laurel Hand to her father, Judge McElva, during his recovery period. Maybe that would be the rarest and the oddest possibility, but this fact was interesting. I wanted to present it to you. So, to the last question, a kind of a relief for you all. I am drained out and I am exhausted too. Name the novel. It started with Sinclair Lewis content earlier, and again it's Sinclair Lewis because I was just impressed and moved with this man. I just want to talk more about him. Name the novel for which Sinclair Lewis was awarded the Pulitzer Prize, but he declined the award because at the time he was against prizes that recognized or honored one author over another. You remember the fact? Recollect. He was rejected twice. What are the works for which he was rejected? Main Street and Babbitt. If my memory goes right, I'm getting older, I may be wrong. Just confirm it. Main Street and Babbitt, right? But here you have Main Street, Babbitt, Kingsford Royal, and Arrowsmith. He was given the Pulitzer Prize award. He was offered. Look how life changes. He had the situation where he could sit back and say, "Come on, I know I don't need your Pulitzer Prize anymore. I don't need your Pulitzer Prize anymore. It's an insult. It's an insult." So it's not insulting, it's not pleasure, but I was just thinking about the pain he would have experienced. Nominated but rejected. Nominated but rejected. Not because of the quality, but because of something else. He had it in his mind, he was hurt. Maybe that was the reason why he declined it. The novel for which he declined the Pulitzer Prize is Arrowsmith. The right answer is Arrowsmith. Sinclair Lewis was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1926 for his novel Arrowsmith. He was the first person who would not accept it. I don't know whether you have many. So go ahead, find if there are more people. There are many people who have rejected it. But Sinclair Lewis was the first one to do it. Being the first to do something is very difficult. And Sinclair Lewis, he did it. Right? Everybody wouldn't get such an opportunity, right? To give back to someone who insulted you, who let you down, right? He did it. And the reason is, I have explained to you, right? With great pain, when he was rejected for the second time, it's just a personal anecdote of Sinclair Lewis' life I wanted to share, that maybe at times you remember the stories, you forget the facts. Right? So I thought, when he was rejected for the second time for his novel Babbitt, it was given to Willa Cather for one of ours. He wrote a letter to his father. I see that just as Edith Wharton's Age of Innocence bet Main Street for the Pulitzer Prize, so did Cather's one of ours beat Babbitt. He has written it in his letter, and what caught my eyes is that I am quite sure I never shall get the Pulitzer. I never shall get the Pulitzer. So he lost all hope. He was frustrated. He was pushed to his limits. He was frustrated. He didn't know what to do. He thought that I waited, I tried all I could, and I couldn't make it. So he thought, as many of us drop in between in our attempt to clear net. I tried. This is my 7th attempt. This is my 8th attempt. I'm not going to try it anymore. That is how we leave things. Never ever give up. Be a Sinclair Lewis. Prove yourself. Prove it. And he did it that way, and we are going to do it that way too. So that is with NetWit. I thought I had been talking, and I had been talking all the time. So I could add an interesting segment like Quick Wit, where it's almost a kind of a rapid fire like. So I have 5 questions. So I need to know what you know about Pulitzer Prize, right? So I have told you what I know. So now we have a quiz competition here. Let me explain to you the rules about it. Answer the question as soon as the question is asked, because the winner will be decided based on the correct and the fastest answers. You got it? Not only correct, you need to be fast also, because you cannot go Google So find the answer. That's why we made it the fastest too. In net, you don't have anything like that, right? So the rule is that answer the question as soon as the question is asked. The winner will be decided based on the correct and fastest answers. The winner will be honored in Literal's Telegram group the next day. Why this is done this way is because I don't know how many of you are viewing it. I don't know exactly because I'm not watching the comments right now. So in case we have many, we may not be able to find out the winner. So we need to sort it out, find out the winner. So the winner will be honored. I know honoring is $1,000 for someone, a chocolate for someone, a title for someone. So a literal, as such, it's going to honor you. You will be announced as the winner of this quick wit, right? Make sure to join our Telegram group using the link given in the chat box. Don't forget to download your Telegram app. Am I right? So it should be like that. So for this quick wit, I need to make a call to do certain things. So let me go ahead with that. To win a Pulitzer Prize, identify the first African American poet to win a Pulitzer Prize. Gwendolyn Brooks, Susan Laurie Parks, Rita Doe, Jennifer Nancebuga Makumbi. Ignore my pronunciation, don't bother at all. Just look into the options and go for the typing of the answers. Yeah, moving on to the next question. Identify the two black gay writers who won the 2020 Pulitzer Prizes in the drama category for a musical, A Strange Loop, and the other who won in poetry for his collection, The Tradition. The options are Sarah Teasdale and Willa Cather, Michael R. Jackson and Jericho Brown, Edna St. Vincent Millay and Taunton Wilder, Ronan Farrow and Michael Cunningham. I think you have the options in display, so I needn't go about it again. So moving on to the third question. Name the American playwright who grew up with dyslexia and won a Pulitzer Prize for the play The Healy Chronicles in 1989, and later claimed that dyslexia was sort of a gift because it allowed the writer to easily think out of the box. August Wilson, Neil Simon, Wendy Wasserstein, Tony Kushner. Take your time, think well, but be fast to answer too. Your fourth question. Identify the only two Pulitzer Prize winning novels that have been adapted as films and have won the Oscar award. Identify the only two Pulitzer Prize winning novels that have been adapted as films and have won the Oscar award. Now in November and Honey in the Horn, The Grapes of Wrath and Dragon's Teeth, Gone with the Wind and All the King's Men, The Town and the Old Man and the Sea. And your last question. Who became the first woman to win two Pulitzer Prizes, one in 2019 and another in 2017? The first woman to win two Pulitzer Prizes, one in 2009 and another in 2017. Elizabeth Strout, Marilyn Robinson, Lynn Nottage, Jennifer Egan. And I think it's almost time. We are done with it, right? So I do not know how many of you took part, how I presented myself, was it useful? I do not know anything about that. So kindly share your opinions about this program in the chat box. We are open to suggestions. Suggest what all you want. We'll try all that we can, right? What is the purpose of attending this network? Will this help you clear net? Is this alone enough? No, definitely no. You cannot. Attending such sessions, I can clear net. If that is the idea that you have developed right now, erase it. It's impossible. It's impossible. Because all such stuff, every Thursday I'll be joining you like this, giving you a kind of a boost, a spur, a trigger to activate your brain, to go to maybe to show you the way. Go like this. Have you gone like this? Maybe I can kindle the spirit in you, right? But attending such thing can break the monotony in your serious preparation or be a kind of an energy booster. But never will it lay the foundation for cracking net. So what is the ultimate thing you need to crack net? It involves very serious groundwork to cover an ocean, especially when it comes to English literature. You know, you've got so many genres, so many writers, so many works, so many years naturally. How will you remember them? Is it possible? No, it's very difficult. Come on, clearing net in literature is very difficult. You have to cover an ocean of portion. That's what people tell. But literal makes it simple for you. How? We have our tutors who do the labor for you, go through everything. They explore the ocean. They delve deep into the ocean and bring the crux of it, of a particular topic, and offer to you as a mini course, just at the cost of less than a pizza, rupees 50 for a mini course. Enroll right now today. And this week, next week, Monday, that is on 10th of June, 14th of June. Today is 10, 12, 14, yeah. 14th of June, you have Mr. Karthik, the secretary and co-founder of Literal, offering you a mini course on cultural studies, reproducing art, Walter Benjamin. It's going to be a spectacular session. You need not go through books to collect details. Our tutor has done that. He's going to provide you with a 90-minute lecture with a solid PDF material containing all facts about it. Things are made very simple. If you find it difficult to make food at home, call Swiggy, call Zomato, your food is at home. Something like that. Rupees 50, a mini course. It's going to be fantastic. Literally is going to come to you at your doors with so many things, with so many innovative ideas. It's all going to be through Microsoft Teams as of now. So with Microsoft Teams, download it. And if you are interested in joining the course of Mr. Karthik on culture studies, reproducing art by Walter Benjamin, please do ensure that you do it right now. You'll find the Google form link in the description box. Do it right away, now or never. Don't think you can do it tomorrow. Will I have rupees 50? We spend so much on trivial stuff, on recharge, this, that, and everything. Why not for something which is going to make you a really intelligent, a really knowledgeable person? Right source, you are in the right hands. Literally is going to take care of that. So please do fill the form immediately. I can give you my mobile number. It's there. It would be there in the poster. You can WhatsApp me or Telegram me at any time. But please be patient enough to wait for my replies, because we prepare. We have got so many stuff to take care of. But you will be responded with an answer. Thank you for joining me this evening. Take care. Stay safe. It's Sashikila signing off. Bye-bye.